And we will call the meeting to order. And we will begin with the meeting of the Salary Board. And could we start with a roll call, please?
Yes, good morning, Commissioner Niederer.
Here.
Commissioner Boschi.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger. And Controller Whitcomb.
Here.
All right. We will open it up to public comment before the Salary Board. Is anyone here to provide that? Does not appear so. Anyone online, Audrey, for public comment at this time?
I am showing 2 guests online. Not sure if you have public comment.
If anyone would like to make a public comment online, please use the raise your hand feature. Does not appear.
Showing no public comment.
Okay. We will then move on to the approval of the minutes from the May 9th meeting of the Salary Board.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of May 9th.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next up, the Salary Board actions.
I'll make a motion to approve all the salary board actions as provided.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the Salary Board at this time? Nothing? All right. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned from the Salary Board. We will go into the Board of Commissioners meeting and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will call the meeting to order and begin with a roll call, please.
Commissioner Niederer.
Here.
Commissioner Boschi.
I'm here.
And Commissioner Eichelberger.
It's our pleasure to start this meeting with a proclamation for May 23rd, acknowledging Teen Mental Health Awareness Day. And with us, we have a dynamic young woman, Ricky Shukla, who is a sophomore at Cumberland Valley, and her credentials are pretty extensive. She's a researcher, developer, and mental health advocate, and she's very passionate about fighting the mental health crisis amongst her peers and teens, and using advocacy and technology. She is not just a student at Cumberland Valley, she's a research student assistant at Columbia University Mental Health Lab, where she has been researching mental health disorders and has been developing artificial intelligence for mental health diagnosis. So, Ricky, we are delighted to have you here. If you would mind coming on up here.
So Ricky, when you graduate and you're going to move on with your life, we would really appreciate it if you would stay here in the region and work on the mental health issues, because we need, I'm sure that you will have lots of spectacular offers. We still have a lot to offer.
Ricky, I'm going to read the formal proclamation, and it says, Cumberland County Commissioners proclaim Teen Mental Health Awareness Day. Whereas Teen Mental Health Awareness Day sheds light on the importance of mental health and wellness in the lives of teenagers, and whereas the PA Youth Advocacy Network aims to create a space for youth and adults to work together to elevate teen voices around mental health, and whereas mental health includes emotional, psychological, and social well-being and significantly affects how teens think, feel, and act. And whereas, according to the latest Pennsylvania Youth Survey data, 40% of students reported feeling sad or depressed most days, and nearly 28% of students feel life is not worth it. And whereas, according to the Mental Health Foundation, 50% of mental health problems are established by the age of 14 and 75% by the age of 24. And whereas early identification and treatment can make a profound difference in the successful management and recovery of mental illness. And whereas public education and civic activities can improve mental health in the lives of teenagers and their families and help remove the stigma of mental illness. And now, therefore, the Cumberland County Commissioners proclaim May 23rd, 2024 as Teen Mental Health Awareness Day. Thank you, Ricky. And I think you're going to say.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Narika Shikla, and I'm 16 years old and a sophomore at Cumberland Valley High School. And it is truly an honor to be speaking with you today about my journey in mental health advocacy and writing and passing this proclamation, which is recognizing today, May 23rd, 2024, as the official Teen Mental Health Awareness Day. So for some background, I'm a mental health advocate and researcher, passionate about bringing youth voices to the conversation about mental health. And my work is featured in ABC News and the National Award in Times Square. And my passion for mental health advocacy has led me to some incredible opportunities, like being the youngest researcher at Columbia University Psychology Lab and being a student researcher at Harvard Medical School's Mental Health Lab. I also built an iOS app called Mind Power to fight the mental health crisis in America through connecting at-risk youth with vital mental health resources and education. And I wrote this proclamation to recognize today as the first ever Teen Mental Health Awareness Day in Cumberland County. And on this day, we're recognizing the progress in our county to address youth mental health, while also acknowledging what work still needs to be done in order to uplift students in vulnerable situations of their mental health. So it was an incredible honor to be able to write and pass this proclamation, and I'm so grateful to everyone at the Teen Advocacy Network, and especially to my mentor, Sarah Cassie, for making this possible. And it was also, I'm so grateful to Cumberland County Commissioner Niedener, Commissioner Oshie, and Commissioner Eichelberger for passing this proclamation and also being such strong supporters of young people and youth mental health. So with this proclamation, we can break the stigma of youth mental health and support the next generation of students. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Sorry, I neglected to mention Harvard. Put that one down and we will get a little photo here. Do you want to play her? Yeah, that's a great idea. A great idea.
All right. No, I'm back on. All right. I'm gonna take a couple, all right?
Okay. Got it? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Keep up all the great work. And you ladies do not need to stick around for the whole meeting. Take a moment here to get settled, and I think in my enthusiasm for jumping to the proclamation, I overlooked public comment, and I do not want to do that. So if there is anyone that would like to make public comment prior to the agenda items for the meeting, please do so. Audrey, is there, you indicated there were some folks online. Is there anyone indicating they would like to make public comments?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Very good. We will then move on to the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. So the consent agenda is a list of routine items that do not appear to be controversial in nature and seem to not require any additional discussion. If anybody would like to have discussion on any of the agenda items 5 through 10, now would be the time to make that request. Hearing none, seeing none, Commissioners, I would request approval of the consent agenda.
I will move to approve the consent agenda.
And I will second that. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Right, that takes us to the regular agenda, which is a list of non-routine items. They will be discussed and may be acted upon individually. I'll actually turn the meeting over at this time to Angela Smyser to go through the contracts.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Moving on to agenda item 11, I will call on Kim Winton to discuss the contracts for aging and community services. Good morning, Kim.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, commissioners. The first one, Babu Home Care Agency provides personal care and home support to our consumers in the option program at a rate of $21 per hour. Keystone, they provide guardianship services to at-risk older adults who have been investigated by protective services and determined incapacitated. Keystone is appointed guardian by the court, and we pay an initial fee for setup, and then we pay a monthly fee thereafter. Any questions?
None for me. Entertain a motion.
I will move to approve the contracts for aging and community services as set forth on agenda item 11.
I'll second that. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 12, I will call on Jamie Reiber to discuss the contracts for children and youth services. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. The first contract I have is Avanco International Incorporated. This is our client information system that we use. This is shared amongst 62 or 63 of the counties in Pennsylvania. We all share the cost of that. And it's divided evenly amongst us. There is a 3% increase in their hosting fees for the 24-25 fiscal year. But again, that is something that we split amongst all of the counties that use the program, and it's negotiated by PCYA for us. The second contract is for Janelle Carball, MSW LCSW Family Centered Services LLC. We're doing an addendum to the 23-24 contract. We are adding facilitation and coordination of older youth transition meetings. These are meetings that we hold with our older youth and prepare them to discharge from the system and for children and youth to step out. And we've had a huge increase in the need for these, so we are bringing in someone else to help us facilitate those. The next one is Jefferson County Government. This is a detention facility just across the border in Ohio. They are approved provider through Pennsylvania. They are available for, they're available for us to use if needed. We have not had to date, but again, we do have a shortage of detention spaces in Pennsylvania, so we'd like to have them on standby. And they are actually pretty significantly lower in their rates than a lot of the Pennsylvania providers are. The next one is Peer Star LLC. This is a linkage agreement ensuring collaboration between Peer Star, who provides peer support services, and our mutual clients, and being able to work together with both of them. There is no financial obligation along with this. It's just to be able to work together and share information. The last one is the Pennsylvania State University as an addendum. We have a current agreement with them, but they're modifying it to update the contacts who receive data. So it's a data release agreement. Penn State reviews our cases when needed to help us determine if a child was physically abused. So this is to be able to give them that information and for them to be able to provide that feedback for us when we're investigating a child abuse. Any questions?
Actually, I do, Jamie. So the Jefferson County facility that we will be entering into the agreement on, have we inspected that facility and done a deep dive on the quality of care that's provided there?
We have not, but they are licensed by the state of Pennsylvania. So someone from the state level would have gone out to their facility and made sure that they met our standards in order to approve them to be licensed.
Okay. It's just concerning if we end up ultimately having to use that facility and sending kids that far from home. It's it's a shame that we are in these positions. Hopefully, we won't have to use it.
Right, and juvenile probation would be who was using them, and they typically do go out and see the locations before they put someone there. So I believe that if we got into a situation where we would need to utilize them, they would definitely be going out there and checking things out.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, so I will move to approve the contracts for children and youth services as set forth on agenda item 12.
I'll second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jamie. Moving on to agenda item 13, I will call on Dennis Lebo to discuss the contract with paperless solutions for both the clerk of courts and the prothonotari's office. And I see we have Dale Savage here as well.
Yes, it's a 2-year maintenance renewal contract for clerk court and prothonotary with paperless solutions that provide maintenance for our prothonotary's case management system, as well as both of our digital imaging systems. It will be invoiced yearly, but it's a 2-year contract. And most important thing, probably to you people, is that there would be no general fund money spent on this. We pay for it out of our automation funds.
That is a key.
Yes, it
Thank you.
Like,
Denny, I also want to say publicly, thank you for keeping your office in such tip-top shape. Some of the other, some of our neighboring counties are struggling in the efficiencies of their row offices. And so I wanted to commend you and your staff for the great work that you do.
I have a great day.
You do.
All right.
So does Dale.
Yeah.
Any questions?
And so I will move to approve the paperless solutions contract for clerk of courts in the prothonotary's office as discussed.
I will second that. And it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Agenda item 14 is for the commissioner's office, and I will be the one discussing this with you today. So we have 2 contracts here and they actually go together. They are both related to the mail machine in the main courthouse here. The first one with Green Trail Solutions is just a maintenance agreement. So they will be maintaining our machine for us and managing our lease with Pitney Bowes. This will provide a really good level of local customer service. They're located right in Enola, so it takes them less than 15 minutes to get to the courthouse if we have any needs. The second one is the lease agreement with Pitney Bowes. So while it is managed by Green Trails, it is a lease directly through Pitney Bowes. So it is the similar equipment, but new upgraded technology to better meet the needs of our county with some built-in cost saving software, price comparisons for packages, and ensuring that we're sending things the most cost-effective way. Are there any questions?
Just Angela, with those cost saving, it would be interesting, I don't know, because the mail needs change year over year, if there would be a way to see exactly what that ends up saving us. If there's any way to plan for that, that would be great.
We are looking at what we are not saving with it right now, so that we will be able to compare what we will be saving with it once it's implemented. So I don't have any defined numbers, but it should offset the increase that we have from our current lease to the new lease should be completely offset by the savings with the new software.
That would be great.
I will move to approve the contracts for the commissioner's office as discussed.
I will second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Great,
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 15, I will call on Eric Radnovich to discuss the contract addendum for the district attorney's office FID. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, commissioners. The contract before you is an extension and expansion of the contract we have with the Department of Correction to do their drug work. They've been very pleased with the work we've done for them. The reason for the expansion is they were originally looking at doing a number of samples every month, and they've nearly doubled the original estimate because of the quality of the work that they're getting, and they're getting it back in a timely fashion. But we're not able to keep up, so we spoke to them about changing the contract, and they went for it. So this allows us to hire another chemist and to buy a new instrument and basically commit it all to DOC. So they do have a lot of work, more work than I ever thought they were going to, and I think more work than they thought they were going to as well. So that's why.
Any questions for Eric?
Now, Eric, we like to see the numbers go up when they're revenue. So
Yes.
thank you.
Sure. I do my best.
It's good, Eric, too, to see the investments in the forensics lab paying off, right? They've paid off in so many ways, but this is very important.
Sure. And we do try, and we try to market our work as best we can and generate revenue when we can.
Well, kudos to you and your staff for doing such quality work that people are seeking you out to give you more. You'll just have to, I guess, monitor where that break point is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. So I will move to approve the Commonwealth of PA Department of Corrections contract addendum for the District Attorney's Office FID as discussed.
Second, moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Jean?
Oh, sorry, I've already moved on. Like, no, I got Brent.
All right, moving on to agenda item 16, I will call on Brent Durham to discuss the contract for facilities management. Good morning, Brent.
Good morning, everyone. The contract before you for your consideration is with Coral Reef EV LLC. This is a 5-year contract and includes software license, training, as well as a service and technical support package. This package includes software updates, 24/7 proactive monitoring, 24-hour guaranteed response time, parts, and labor. The contract price for 5 years is $14,688. This amount was included in the EECBG grant application that was approved, so there will be no general fund money used for this. Any questions?
Brent, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions because the commissioners received an email from a row officer, and I guess our row officers have a concern about why would the county possibly be spending this money on this project? I think when we're asking people to cut costs across the county.
Sure.
And I know involved in this project for almost a year, maybe a year, maybe a little bit over. We've had numerous public meetings about this, so this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. And as I remember you discussing this, Brent, and I'm going to ask you to elaborate on it, this is a cost-saving measure for this county. So could you please launch into the things that have been discussed for the past year?
Yeah, certainly. So this all started, we used Wilson Engineering through support and funding from the U.S. Department of Energy and PA Department of Environmental Protection. And they provided to us at no cost an electrical fleet study for our entire fleet of vehicles. That was a very detailed study. When it came back, there was 78 vehicles, I think, that were slated as potential for some sort of electric replacement, whether it be hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or all electric. We honed down onto all electric vehicles, and I looked at all the vehicles that were slated for replacement in a 3-year time frame, 2023, 2024, 2025, which ended up taking me to 8 vehicles. We did the math on those vehicles, and at the start of this, there was a AFIG, Alternative Fuels Incentive Grant Program, that we applied for, $7,500 for each vehicle there. We also applied for the charging infrastructure as well, which is a 50% match grant. After that time, the EECBG grant became available. That grant was $274,000 and a little bit over that. And we applied to use that money towards the electric vehicles and the charging infrastructure. So at the end of the day, and also we are using the ARPA grant money as well. So, we're going to end up purchasing 8 vehicles, not adding to our fleet, just a change from a gas vehicle to an electric vehicle. We'll get 8 vehicles. We'll have 8 charging ports, and none of that will come from general fund money. On top of that, when you look at when you compare the electric vehicles to the gas versions, we get a very good electric rates at our facilities. And when you do the math on the electric rate and what it will cost us to charge these vehicles, we're going to be about $2.10, $2.20 to charge a vehicle to run 100 miles. Now, if you compare that to a gas version that might be getting 25 miles to the gallon, that's $15.50 or so at today's gas rates. Our vehicles average about 8,000 miles per year. So, we're looking at a little over $1,000 savings per vehicle per year. That's just on the fuel savings. When you start looking at the maintaining of the vehicles, electric vehicles have about 80% less moving parts. There's not a whole lot there to go wrong with them as compared to the gas version. So we're estimating about a 50% savings there on the cost of repair. I don't know what else to really say. I mean, I know there's been concern down the road. What do we do with the batteries and things? These vehicles are mandated by federal government that the manufacturers warranty the batteries for 8 years. So I think at the 8-year mark, we're going to have a choice of what we're going to do with the vehicles, but we may trade them at that point in time. There's been a lot of discussion in the news about the batteries and what to do at the end of life. And the reality of it is these batteries, the elements that are in these batteries, about 90 or 95% of the elements in the batteries are recyclable. So I'm thinking by the time we get to that 8-year mark, there's going to be plenty of opportunities and means of recycling batteries. Does that, I sort of went long, but I hope that answered your question.
I think that's an amazing summary. Yep. And I appreciate it tremendously. I wasn't jotting down numbers, but if I recall correctly, I mean, all of this all in, I mean, you're looking at under $500,000 that you've gotten through grants. Maybe it's 400-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to be around 465,000, I think, at the end of the day, Kelly. I think is what it's going to be. But you're right. Between the 3 grants, it'll cover all of it.
Yeah, so roughly under $500,000 just by bit. We round big here because the numbers are big, but that is not costing us for 8 vehicle gas powered vehicles that we would be replacing anyway. Plus, it's providing structure for the future if we continue to see this as a real value add in savings. So I think that was a wonderful summary and I appreciate it immensely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brent, I really appreciate the work that you and Kirk have done on this. I think is tremendous. The amount of investigation, the amount of detail, the amount of understanding that we weren't buying 8 vehicles for the hell of it. We were buying 8 vehicles to replace. And you got together and you found some cost saving measures. And I think this is very important for everyone who works at this in county government to understand. The cost of county government has gone up tremendously, tremendously. And we have all grants available to us. And you and Kirk took advantage of grant opportunities in a way that really made a difference. We have Katie Zimmerman, our grant administrator, to assist with putting grants through, with being competitive in how we do it. It's very important. We need to be able to go after bigger, badder, and better grants because we do not have the revenue to run county government, and it gets more and more expensive. And the Board of Commissioners is charged with finding that revenue, and doing all of it on the back of the taxpayer is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And here we have this great opportunity that you have taken advantage of, Brent, to save that taxpayer dollars. And I'm so appreciative of it. And I appreciate all the work. And moving forward, I am very hopeful that people that are questioning what we're doing engage in what we do in these public meetings, because it will eliminate what has happened here in the email that the commissioners received, right? It would be better to watch the public meeting and to ask the questions as you go along than to do what just happened here. So thank you so much, Brent. Thank you to you and Kirk, appreciate it.
Gene, thank you. Thank you for your kind words. One other thing I would like to add is if you recall back in when at the finance meeting in 2022, when I did that presentation, I asked that contract be awarded or that capital project be awarded contingent upon the acceptance of the AFIG grant, because at that point we didn't have total acceptance of it. And I didn't see that there was enough savings to move forward with the electric vehicles at that time if we didn't get that AFIG grant. That just the ECBG grant came aboard after that, which really made a lot of sense at that point. But you know,
Layering 3 on top was a big
Well
win. Well
oh
done.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna move. Oh, go ahead.
You know, I just want to add one thing, and that is that Brent has been working very closely with Ron Snow on looking at the Inflation Reduction Act and ways to maximize our savings in that regard as well. So we're really attempting to layer an additional layer on top of those 3. And just, they're still in the process of reviewing that, but while we're sending a kudos out to staff, I just did not want to forget Ron Snow.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's happening on the background. We didn't know. Thank you very much, Stacy. All right, we'll need a motion, Jean.
Okay, so I will move to approve the Coral Reef EV LLC contract as discussed.
I'll second. Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank
Let me
you.
remember to.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Moving on to agenda item 17, I will call on Holly Sherman to discuss the contract for human resources. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning. The contract before you is for the renewal of the professional liability insurance for Dr. Wayne Ross to perform autopsies on behalf of the coroner's office. It is an increase over the prior year of $515. Any questions?
No. I will move to approve the contract for Christian Baker RSUI Group, Inc. for human resources as discussed.
I'll second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Can we hold for just a second? I want to grab, be right back, sorry.
We need to officially take a recess.
Oh, I don't know.
We need to officially take this.
You can if you want, unless you just read it out.
We'll just
We'll be right with you, Sue. One
we'll be
moment.
right with you.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
All right, moving on to agenda item 18, I will call on Sue Carball to discuss the contracts for MHIDD. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, everybody. So I have a long list here. I think I should get the prize this morning. So
Yes, you,
I'm sorry.
I just said, yes, you do have a long list today.
Yeah. So here we go. So these are basically all, except the very last one, early intervention, new contracts for fiscal year 24-25. Now, you're going to see a lot of decreases in these contracts, but that we usually start our contracts at the projected year end. So you will see those decreases, but the contracts are closely monitored. And as we need to add more money, then we will be back with amendments. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So the first one is for Aspirations LLC. They're going to start their contract at $373,047. Building Blocks Therapy LLC will start their contract at $52,474. Clear Path Pediatric Therapy LLC will start at $15,639. Communication Beginnings LLC will start at $7,496. Early Bird Therapy LLC, their contract will start at $295,235. Grow and Tell Seedling will start at $78,536. Joanna Carnes, MTBC, she will start her contract at $9,826. Leah M. Blake will start at $56,386. $320. Living Unlimited will start at $4,037. Matico Pediatric Therapies LLC will start at $3,000. Pediatric Therapy Specialists of South Central PA LLC will start at $69,154. Shannon Sweeney PT will start at $3,886. And United Cerebral Palsy of Central Pennsylvania, Inc. will start their contract at $86,811. The other contract on the agenda is a mental health contract. It's for Susquehanna Software Incorporated. It is an amendment for fiscal year 23-24, an increase of $15,500. We are working to add the EI consumers and the IDD consumers and data into the CPR web. So that is what that contract would be for. Any questions?
Yeah, Sue, I just want to commend you though for what a prudent way to approach these contracts. And this is state money that we're receiving for many of these contracts. And I think folks would tend to believe that government would just take as much as possible and approve it all and make sure that they spent every last dime. So I really want to commend you and your staff for taking this in blocks that you know you need to provide the services and continually monitoring it. So hats off to you all out there.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
I will move to approve the contracts for MHIDD as discussed and set forth on agenda item 18.
I will second that. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Mhm.
Moving on to agenda item 19, I will call on Brian Ward to discuss the contract for the sheriff's office.
Alright. So, based off the proclamation this morning, and Eric and Brent, I feel decidedly inadequate. It's a feeling that's not alien to me, so I'll work through it. I have a contract before you. Technically it's a new contract, but it's not. We've been partnered, and I'm to your benefit because you haven't heard my spiel before.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries. We have partnered with a company called Lexipol, and Lexipol is basically a fantastic risk mitigator in police, fire, EMS. They manage the 150 plus policies that we have. We've been partners with them since 2016, and they constantly monitor both best practices in our industry specific to the sheriff's office. We were the first ones in PA to use them. State changes in any state laws, changes in any federal laws as they pertain to us. And I think last year they looked at 12,000 pieces of legislation and regulatory stuff across the entire country. And we constantly get policy updates that are vetted through them. It's money well spent, and regrettably it went up by $800 this year, but the total price is, what was it, like 14.4. It's probably the best money we've spent or that I've asked for since I've been doing this.
If I remember correctly, when I first got here in 2020, and there was a lot of civil unrest about law enforcement, Lexipol responded very, very quickly to updating policies and procedures to make sure that best practices were being put forth in those books as part of protecting not only law enforcement, but the public also.
Absolutely.
And people who were being arrested. And I just remember that. I remember how fast that happened. And this is money well spent.
It benefits a lot of areas in my world, to include the people we're dealing with.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I thought they responded very quickly to protecting the public.
Yep. So that's all I
I
got.
don't know how you could monitor 15,000 items without a service. Like this. It's just it would be inconceivable.
So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoyed being here today, and have a good day.
Thank you.
So
all right. See you.
I will move to approve the Lexipol LLC contract for the sheriff's office.
I'll second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Next time I'll stay put.
Thank
They
you.
have to rename that from the warden to the Brian Ward.
There you go. See ya.
Moving on to agenda item 20, I will call on Justin Miller to discuss the grant application for recycling waste. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning. So these are the standard forms for our household hazardous waste events, asking for your approval and signature on two forms. First one is the record of operations report for our April 11th event. Provides a summary of all the different types of materials we collected and their weights. I will just give you a total. We collected 32,240 pounds, dominated by paint, from 354 customers. The second form is the application for reimbursement. So DEP will reimburse eligible costs up to 50%. The total eligible costs for the event were $29,532.80. We brought in $15,350.20 in user fees, which makes us eligible for $14,182.60 from DEP.
Questions for Justin?
Oh, none for me. I will move to approve the PA DEP Household Small Business Hazardous Waste Collection Program grant application of $14,182.60 for recycling of waste.
I will second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Justin. You've got a few things here to discuss with us today.
Yes, I do.
And that is the grant section, so I'm going to hand the meeting back over to Stacy. But
Yeah, and then we'll continue, Justin. The next three agenda items, 21 through 23, relate to our yard waste equipment sharing program. And if you'd like to take those agenda item by agenda item, please.
Sure. And I know most of you at the meeting probably know some of the details already, as we've been discussing this issue for the past at least 2 months. But for those who may not be aware, I wanted to try to convey a concise history. So I wrote down some of my thoughts so I didn't let something out. So please allow me to read this to you.
That would be great.
Okay. As you know, one of our horizontal grinders had an engine fire back in January while being rented by a municipality, which placed the yard waste recycling equipment rental program under the insurance microscope. At first, our current provider requested substantial changes to our written agreements with municipalities to continue insurance coverage after June 30th. However, after further review, the carrier later stated that this program and equipment carry tremendous risk and they would no longer cover the leased equipment after June 30th. Attempts by the county's insurance broker to obtain coverage under multiple different carriers all resulted in declinations, citing the risk and history of losses associated with this type of equipment. As a result, the Cumberland County Recycling and Waste Authority /Advisory Board at their May 20th meeting unanimously recommended that the Board of Commissioners permanently suspend the program after June 30th, believing all options to continue the program have been exhausted and after gaining a greater understanding of the current day insurance perspective of the risk associated with this program.
Do you have any questions regarding Justin's statement or the first agenda item?
No, Justin, I appreciate that summary.
Yeah, I do too. And 2 months, we've been talking about this for 2 months, and staff has done an unbelievable in-depth job of making sure that there were no options available for the county on this. And I appreciate that hard work very much. I'm going to move to suspend the yard waste equipment sharing program effective June 30th, 2024.
I will second that. And so it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So Justin, if you want to continue with the next agenda item.
Yeah, so related to that, now that it's been suspended, seeking your permission and approval to officially notify the affected municipalities of the suspension of the program. Keeping in mind that the current agreements do have a 30-day termination notice, so we should act on that fairly quickly.
Questions for Justin about his proposal?
Justin, I don't. Actually, more of Keith. Are you working with them, Keith, to on that notification?
I am not, but I will assist Justin in any way he needs my assistance.
Okay.
But I agree, Justin. I think that's going to be important that we do it promptly.
And we have been trying to keep them up to date through the whole process. So I believe they are already aware of this possibility.
I think you have done a very good job of letting them know of the issues that we've been encountering through the entire process, so.
Okay, I will move to direct staff to notify affected municipalities of the suspension of the yard waste equipment sharing program.
I'll second that. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners. Okay, Justin, one last agenda item for you
Yeah,
here.
so finally, we do want to work with our municipalities and develop options for consideration of the potentially transferring ownership of the equipment to them. Or if that's not possible, we'll have to find other disposition means. We also have to work with DEP since the equipment's grant funded. They generally like to transfer ownership to another governmental body, and we'd like to try to keep the equipment in the county so it's still available to municipalities. They would just have to take ownership of it.
Any questions for Justin?
Don't have any questions. I know this program was very important to our municipalities, so I'm very glad that we'll be working on developing options. It's a good thing. That's a good thing to do. So I will move to direct staff to develop options for consideration by the Board of Commissioners for transitioning ownership or disposition of the yard waste equipment sharing program equipment.
I will second that. It is moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much, Justin.
Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, that takes us to agenda item 24, which is liaison reports, and Commissioner Neer.
Yes. Since our last meeting here, Commissioner Fashi and I attended a number of events. First off was the CASA swearing in, which was a beautiful candle lighting in the old courthouse, and welcomed some new advocates in that program, which just does yeoman's work in helping children navigate the legal system, quite frankly. And I attended the mobility presentation to local children at the Capital Area Intermediate Unit. It was 24 modified bicycles for children with physical disabilities were donated by the Variety Children's charity out of Pittsburgh, and it was a tremendous event with kids so excited to be able to ride a bicycle. Many of them for the first time because of these items being adapted for their special to accommodate them. Just if anyone is watching and has or knows anyone with a child with a disability that would prevent them from riding a bike, please reach out to that charity. It is free of cost. They also provide a My Voice program, which is like a tablet translator that allows children to speak that are unable to speak, and a My Stroller program, which are modified strollers for children that have special needs that in using a stroller. So please reach out. Variety Children's charity out of Pittsburgh. And Commissioner Fashi and I attended the Penn State Dickinson Law School graduation. Every time I'm feeling dismayed at younger folks, we have folks like Ricky, and then to see the amazing students that were here at our law school graduation was enjoyable. Commissioner Fashi and I also attended the NAMI Keystone Mental Health and Wellness Conference. Really wanting to know more about the walk-in medical emergency health clinic that we are partnering on, and I think it raised a lot of questions that we're going to have to be addressing going forward. Commissioner Fashi and I also attended a mass emergency simulation in Shippensburg involving representatives from 16 states. There were multiple nonprofits and a host of government agencies, FEMA, PEMA, but representatives from all departments throughout the state, where we had emergency responders drilling to a mass emergency that would encompass a large part of Cumberland County and Pennsylvania in general. It was an incredible thing to see in action. And I feel, after having been there, that we are in good hands with our emergency responders here in Cumberland County. Lastly, as far as attending, Commissioner Bashi and I attended the Citrus Grove ribbon cutting in Shippensburg. It's 40 affordable housing units for seniors, and I'll tell you, the building is beautiful, and it is we have much need for that within the county. Additionally, I attended the CADIC held a special meeting of the directors to accept the audit that was submitted to the CADIC board. I did abstain from that vote because of the relationship that audit was coming to us and had been delayed. I attended the Cumberland County Planning meeting on May 16th, where there was a presentation of South Mountain Partnership that I quite frankly just did not know existed in the capacity. It's a coalition of multiple groups, nonprofit, government, DCNR, Appalachian Trail. They work together to preserve trails, parks, and open space. And one little fun fact I learned was that our own Michaud State Forest hosts about 500,000 visitors every year. So we should be very proud of all we offer here in Cumberland County. We also discussed the Mount Holly Marsh Preserve, which the county owns 900 acres that are available to residents for some really wonderful hiking. Just go climb the mountain outside the Deer Lodge, the former Deer Lodge. It's beautiful space. Additionally, Kirk Stoner updated that the comprehensive plan continues to be developed, and that group, the Planning Commission, will hopefully be getting a review of that in July. He also announced the next planning outreach meeting, which is a meeting anyone is welcome to attend, but it is predominantly for municipalities and other local governments and interested agencies, I guess, across the county. And that meeting Kurt is going to leave is going to be very focused on transportation. So that will be important. Additionally, part of the Cumberland County Planning Commission, they reviewed some approvals for some rezoning to some residential farm to Village Center in Middlesex Township. This is several large tracts of land that have been discussed quite a lot. Keith, is that Wolf's Bridge Road or
Yes.
off of Wolf's Bridge Road? The thing that was most encouraging about that to me, again, was that it's going to be for multi-family housing, and the units that are being proposed will be more affordable housing units, again, for Cumberland County, which is critical. So if you want any more details on that, please go to the Cumberland County Planning web page. They list their full agenda and any of the supporting documentation there. Lastly, I did attend the Recycling and Waste Authority meeting on May 20th, as Justin just outlined. He has saved me a lot of talking. And Jean, to your point, it was not something that anyone has treated lightly. This is a program that we know the municipalities value, but unfortunately just has hit a time period where it cannot continue as we took action on today. So I know that Kirk and Justin will do everything in their power to try and assist the municipalities in navigating this process. So that is it for me.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bashi.
So I want to start out apologizing to Chief Robin Stein from Silver Spring and our law enforcement professionals, because we missed the law enforcement memorial, and he came in and invited us, and I know we're both sorry that we missed that. I just thought about that today, so maybe we could write him a note.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had sent him an email. It's at my son's college graduation.
We're doing a lot.
We are.
Yeah, we're doing a lot. So I attended the Cumberland County Housing and Redevelopment Authority's meeting. I'm going to give you the highlights. These meetings are action-packed. There's a lot that goes on in those meetings. But Mary Kuna has discussed the history of the Housing Authority work in Perry County with their commissioners and Perry County staff. I think that's really great. The Housing Authority received approval from the Department of Human Services to repurpose ERAP 2 funds to complete new roofs for 7 public housing sites in Carlisle. So that's $505,467.52. They're working with the general contractor and maintenance to get a project bid, and that project will be underway by the fall. Mary County thanked the county commissioners because we approved the reallocation of the funds. And she also thanked the county's administrative staff for their assistance with working through the ever-changing guidance on COVID-related funds. Ever-changing. Public housing received a score of 74 on their last Inspire inspection in March, which is up from 44 the last year. And their maintenance person and their staff, their goal next year is for a high 90 score. So it's great to see that improvement happening. Continuum of care grants are being evaluated. The Redevelopment Authority, Kelly, I think you're going to dig this. I think you're going to really like this. They're working on implementing new software for the tax credit property management division. And finance is working to implement opportunities for tenants to pay rent via direct deposit. Yes,
that would be nice.
Yes, that is super, super awesome.
Since many of their tenants get their pays and direct deposit.
Yes. Yes, so the Cumberland County Library System met. I will remind you to use the Cumberland County Library System. It's summertime. There's all kinds of tremendous programming for children and for adults. But you just don't want to miss it. So Coy Library of Shippensburg will be engaging in the building of a stage at Library Square, and they're going to use private donations and money and reserves to do that. And the boards will be coming to Cumberland County Human Resources and the Cumberland County Salary Board for some action. And they discussed that in executive session, and then of course they voted on it, but I don't know what they're doing. So they handled that really well, very well. The Western COG met on May 13th. I shared this with my colleagues in conservation and planning. Rep. Gleim was there with 2 drafts of legislation on FPRs. There's not a lot of guts to what she presented. She did say they were drafts, but there's not much there. But she did say that county conservation districts are going to be playing a tremendous role in handling FPRs. And, you know, that's going to be an unfunded mandate. There's no way around it. Carl is part of that FPR task force. Carl Gosselin, our director of conservation. It's good that he's there. And then in the same breath, Representative Gleim mentioned that she voted no to a piece of new legislation that would give first responders and EMS post-traumatic stress injuries benefits. She was in favor of the intent of the bill, but there is currently no state funding available for this, and we just can't have any more unfunded mandates. So let's apply that to county government too. That would be great if we could take that across the board and go get some funding that we desperately need.
I mean, I only skimmed the drafts that you provided, and thank you. But it really does not talk about the role for conservation, which is even more alarming to me because it's not defining what the expectation is. So we are going to have to watch that.
Yes. So there was an update on the P25 radio program. And the regular program committee, of course, is still working on the sites for completion. We know that the timeline of completion, that we're still on schedule, but there's the schedule and we're moving things we're pushing things a little forward. But interestingly, some boroughs and townships would like or need the radios now. And so the committee is checking to see if any radios can be released now. It's something that should be on our radar too, if they need that. And finally, I went to CapCog, and I'm just going to put this out there, and staff, I need you to make sure this is on my calendar. I am the alternate commissioner appointment to CapCog. No one has been there since Vince left. And they pointed that out to me, made sure that I knew that. So that needs to be on my calendar so that I can get to CapCog. We need to be there to listen, to give them a county update. It was embarrassing. It was an embarrassing thing for the county.
And can I please add that to my calendar as well? It was not one that I have been involved in as primary or alternate, so I will also try and attend it as possible.
Yeah, and they're not gonna be upset if both commissioners show up, or 3 commissioners. One of the things they pointed out is that there was a commissioner from Cumberland County, a commissioner from Dauphin County, and a representative from the Board of Commissioners from York County. They were very happy to see that level of representation at CapCog. The Greater Harrisburg Association of Realtors was there. Margaret Parsons gave a presentation, and she talked about how the association has access to multiple grants from the National Association of Realtors. And that that municipalities can use those grants for ordinances. Margaret can help municipalities pull model ordinances. They're very interested in partnering with our regional municipalities. It was such a great talk. And then Sunoco was there, with energy transfer was there. Josh Snyder and Robin Tilly Hall. Robin lives in Hampton Township. Boy, did they they had such a nice conversation about the pipeline, about pipeline safety, about the tech that they use to make sure that that pipeline is safe. They had a very good conversation about that. I know that people think about that on a regular basis, so it was great that they had the conversation, and I really think that it's great that they have a representative right here in Cumberland County. That was excellent. The COG, Nate Silcox talked about the federal SAFER grant. So that their area, the COG is looking for 200 new firefighters by the time the grant expires. And he wanted to know if COG membership would like to apply for another grant. So they said yes. When this grant expires, they want to go right in and apply for another grant. So that was a good thing that came out of that meeting.
Jean, the one thing I think that you said about the money available through Greater Harrisburg Realtors, the one thing I didn't mention, the Planning Commission, Kirk Stoner and his planning group have been doing a ton of work related to reviewing plans that are being updated and modified. So it seems like it's very top of mind to the municipalities that are engaged in it. So hopefully they can get some money to assist in that process, and especially to the municipalities that aren't aware of it. So Energy Transfer also has grants available. Note that the county was the beneficiary of at least one of those grants last year. So every 3 years you can receive a grant, right? They give you that time where you have to wait. But no one should be, our first responders should be applying for this money from First Energy Transfer. Like, they want to give it away. They have given us money. I think they're very helpful in the process. So I think that's important. And the Greater Harrisburg Association of Realtors is having a municipal officials breakfast on June 13th at the Penn Harris Hotel at 7:45 a.m. The director of operations of the PA Municipal League will be there as a speaker. So that might be a really excellent thing for our municipalities to get to, and maybe to talk about these grants that are available. I think that's all I have. I'm sure I could rattle on for a long time.
Thank you, Commissioner. So that takes us then to agenda item 25, which is report of executive sessions. An executive session was held on May 9, 2024 at 10:15 a.m. regarding litigation, and on May 16, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel. And at this time, I would ask if there is any other business to come before the board today. Hearing none and seeing none, we are adjourned.
Thanks.